Hey guys, so the function of climate change. What can we do? Not a lot. Let me tell you why. Because most of the change that needs to be made has to be done by huge hordes of wealth that have been using science to, like psychology and philosophy, for almost 100 years, and especially 200 years, about with the start of this country and the start of the World Bank and the Rothschilds and the Federal Reserve. The ownership and manipulation, experimentation of consciousness, psychology and philosophy inside of those with corporate power, and the power, and this has shaped the economy. That being, you can't really do too much because they hold all of the keys. The modern man will try to rise up like he has throughout history, and I don't see that change being made unless the people with that power make that change, and I don't see the history behind them and their experience being that change. So the desire to fight climate change is an ethical and spiritual one that says we will decentralize power, we will help those around us. It is a character-building one. It is one of morals, ethics, and values. It is a person who does not enact the psychology and philosophy of a consumer, who cannot be controlled. It is somebody who has a spiritual awakening, because they have to understand that there's no one that's going to save them, and that they have to make their redemption from within. So those are the only people who are going to try, and then that brings the good people polarizing, especially with the COVID-19 thing, from the people who are not so good, making violence rampant, and all the good people are going to have to learn some lessons about the nature of mankind and the way that they're not really living according to what originally was mankind. The philosophy of the people with the money and the power is that we are obsolete, that we are like less than, that we are bad copies of extraterrestrial inhabitants that has allowed our intelligence to exist here. And that's what the people who own the Federal Reserve and the Rothschilds and things like that, of that nature, in those circles, truly believe. And so that's why they don't ever share their wealth, because they think that they are superior, and they also think that they're unsuperior, that they're trapped here. And that's why that kind of mindset allows them to want to dabble in to the occultic arts and things. And for me, thinking that I can make change as an interdimensional being, I know that I can keep those values, ethics, and morals about being self-responsible. And one of them that they have, that we have, or us good people might have, is that you should really try to do things yourself. It's kind of like a tattletale situation, but with like Mother Nature, existence, survival, is that as much as you can, you should try to do things yourself. And it's not that kind of mindset that brought them wealth, because they had to cooperate with other people, but it's that kind of mindset that we are all connected, that would either make them or break them, as far as when they were growing in their wealth, and as they cooperated with people, they became psychopaths, basically. And it's very clear in the documents that go over their philosophy and indoctrination of using psychology and social engineering and tests on the public to see responses with commodities and economy and social structures. So fighting them is really useless. The world is going to end. We might want to bet on making the most of our time as our best, next best thing, our next best value for our time on Earth. And I'm not saying that you're going to like do indulgent things, because that's actually what they are relying on. That's the thing that they need. But the more you do community building things, self-reliant, self-educated, self-realized, self-attained things, that does allow you to expand your consciousness and fight interdimensionally on the mental and Buddhic and angelic planes, so that there can be a justification that comes if there is a window that is open for that. And again, these people on the left hand, so I just explained the right hand. If I explain the left hand, the other part of it is that their psychology kind of leading them to a kind of misanthropy in their wealth, and their non-sharing of their wealth, a kind of doomsday acceptance and defeat, create that gap between the have and have-nots and the Illuminati and the understanding of it, and allow them to indulge in things that maybe people wouldn't think they would be doing, which is the occultic arts, especially if they're connected to a secret society, which kind of regulates, manages, facilitates, and monitors that. So if they were to do that, you would have to think of it as a spiritual battle. You would have to think that you must be doing something simple with your life, and alchemy, and these alchemy journals and some of the videos and the things I'm planning on doing, which I'm getting to. I just have to have the time to start to set up the internet, or to go out and use the internet, which means finishing my bike. And every week I have a project, and I'm getting closer and closer. And I've built so much in the last 3 years of being here that it doesn't, I prayed that the Spirit would really guide me. And I was originally going to move and start all over from scratch. And I was going to do that because of the consciousness of the people in my area. And then I realized that they are the weak ones. I am not. I have set up and built all of this, I guess you could say, stability versus wealth. And the stability is all that I need to be able to propagate wealth. And I was like, I'm looking at wealth as a kind of reflection of what I am possible of, and how I can participate. So that in itself gives the opportunity, 1, 2, 3, to really fight in the spirit against the stupidity of the people in my city and town and state, kind of giving me the upper hand in the long run. So I can continue to try to make change from where I'm at and not have to start over.
Yeah, we can. You want to go out right now? Yeah. Pretty soon. I think it's you want me to grab a pipe then?
And I am always eager to spend money on the next process. Out of all the things, if I had money, what I would spend it on, I always think of it as I already know what I would be doing, but it would be a matter of what and when.
Maybe let me get your card, I guess.
Okay. And the what and when is really determined by a kind of spiritual awareness, and an interceding prayerfulness that I manifest through all the little changes that I make. And this is how I use alchemy to weaponize any single penny. And that is how I will also build wealth, because that is what they do. That is the philosophy that they've been using, is a kind of black magic mixed in with gray magic. So it kind of works for their wealth building. But, okay. Because they like to hold on to their money, and I don't even have money to hold on to, but when I do, and since from where I root from and what I believe in, I have utilized wisdom. And I will utilize it in this spiritual battle. Here you go, Boodle.
Where's your painkillers at?
They should be in the cabinet.
I think I want to get started.
Yeah. Aspirin is in general, but for muscles and tendons.
No, aspirin is.
Okay. Hey, it works for my headache.
I know that. Well, first,
Oh yeah, that's right. It's broken, huh? So it is something to note that you can't do everything alone. But it is so important that the people you allow around you allow you to manifest a higher vibration, encourage and challenge you to be more patient. You can't always, like if you only always had the people you wanted to have around you, it would never work out. So there is a kind of humanitarian acceptance of survival that is historical for mankind. That you have to accept who is your lot, you know, and who you get to take care of. And it's more about how you do it and what you do than who and what life skills or things that you do or do not have in common. Because, like, compatibility and the possibility of compatibility is not that big of a scaled value when making change. When you think about the different kinds of compatibility that you desire, so to make change, because you're thinking of setting yourself in a comfort zone, basically, and these things are going to push you dharmatically, karmatically, spiritually, and you have to really have that perception that the people around you, they need you, and you need them. And it doesn't matter who they are. It matters what they believe in, really, when it comes down to it, because it will be in crisis what they will respond as. So the deeper principles will cause true fellowship and allow the I Ching process to be successful in your desires to change and to do what you want. So do not get held up and think that everybody you lead or everybody who leads you or everybody who's working together has to have this amazing tribe vibe, I guess you could say. It's a bit irrational. It's not rooted historically in human survival And the other thing about it is that the most expensive thing has been wars. And they actually create wars to... Well, here's the thing. Like, if they accepted nature, if they appreciated nature, accepted nature, and they wouldn't be doing wars. But they don't accept each other's nature, and they don't accept the nature of their world. So they